Hey there, how you doing? It's Michael Montgomery, the broker with Renzo Real Estate here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And today we are jumping into our June 2018 real estate statistics. Now I wish I had some good news, but it's been a tough month. June has shown to be tougher than previous months, actually. So in this video, I'd really like to jump into a statistic that we watch quite closely and why it's really important, and that is absorption rate. I will link to another video that we have done about absorption rate so you can better understand it. But the premise of it is that you have a certain number of listings that are on the market, and you have a certain number of listings that are leaving the market. And what you're looking at with absorption rate is how many properties are leaving versus how many properties are currently on the market. So that comes out to a percentage. And this is also how we determine whether we're in buyer's territory or seller's territory. So what we're going to discuss are percentages of properties that are leaving the market. Another really cool way of looking at this is thinking that not every single property that's listed will actually sell. So you put your home on the market, it's not guaranteed to sell. It's not guaranteed to sell in any market, but it is a little bit trickier in this market given our current conditions. So when you're looking at these numbers, think of it as almost a percentage of the homes that are selling. It is absorption rate, but think of it as a percentage of the homes that are actually leaving the market and actually selling. And then as we go through the few different property types here, it'll give you an indication of where we're at with each. So to start us off, detached. The detached properties throughout Calgary are at 21%. So that means you have, if you put your property on the market, you have about a 21% chance of selling. So that's different between the areas and it's different between the price points. We're really seeing a lot of movement in the 300 to 600 category, but there are different micro markets within Calgary, but on a whole, that's what we're seeing for detached. Once we start to get into attached, these are attached properties. They can be townhomes, they can be semi-detached as well. We're seeing 15% absorption. So now we've dropped by a little over 5%, by 6%. So you put your home on the market, you have a 15% chance of selling. And where we're really seeing most of the inventory move is around that 300 to 400. That's the category that we're seeing move more than the other categories. Now, finally, let's get to condos. So condos have an absorption rate of 1% less, so 14%. So these numbers are low. They are low, and they're low for even somewhat of a slower market. So if you have a condominium, an apartment style condo, you're looking at about a 14% chance of selling. So what does that tell us? And on the number side, we're looking at about 100,000 to about 300,000, so the lower end for condos. Entry-level condos are selling. Once you start to get to 500, 600 up there, there's very few sales. Of course, there's less inventory up there as well. So what is this all telling us? Again, it's a similar story to what we've heard over the past year to 2 years, and it's just about being competitive with pricing. But it's also understanding what's happening in our community, what's happening in Canada for that matter. We've seen mortgage rates increase. We saw another little increase last month. In Calgary, we have this tumultuous market, and we have this tumultuous feeling throughout the city where things do look to see, like we do see some improvement, and then the next month there are a ton of layoffs. So we just have this roller coaster ride, and unfortunately that's not causing an increase in real estate prices because there is this delay. So even if there's positive net migration, even if there's positive conversations happening in Calgary, it's still gonna take some time. But the other side of it is with new mortgage rules and with increasing rates, it's kind of a double whammy. So we have a slower market and then we've been hit again from that direction. So that is what is contributing to this lower absorption rate. And it's a number that you should definitely go over with your realtor if you are listing your home to understand what are the true odds of selling your home. And if you are in that 15% category, then overpricing or marketing the property improperly, it's not going to help you. You're just going to sit there and collect dust. So you really need to be competitive on that price point so that you're able to be in that 15%. So you need to be in that top 15%, and we usually say that marketing, how your home shows, and pricing are all very important. There's a number of other factors, but these are very important factors to keep in mind. And absorption rate is a very important number to keep in mind. So all of those numbers are in the buyer's market territory. Now, what does that mean as we start to look at it over a month-to-month period or a year-to-year period? A couple of important numbers, and a lot of times people do want to know about prices. And prices, it's a tough number to go off of because a couple of big sales or no big sales can really impact that number. However, we will look at it just to see where things are at. So what we're seeing as far as listing numbers and actual sales is a 5% decrease this year over last year. That's pretty substantial, right? So 5% fewer properties are selling this year versus this time last year. Now, if we look at it year on year for prices, like we said, or month over month for prices, we're seeing a decrease in it by 1.89% for prices year over year. So from this time last year to where we are now, we're down 1.89 or 1.9% or so on prices. How about this month versus last month? Again, we're looking at a smaller sample size. So extrapolating this throughout where we're currently at isn't usually the best strategy, but understanding the direction is very important. So we're down about 0.6% as far as prices go from the previous month. So June, we were down 0.6%. Again, these numbers, you do have to kind of take them with a grain of salt, but it is very important to look at direction and overall market direction and overall market pressure. So what we can really take from last month is an increased inventory, as we've been seeing before, decreased number of sales, and then compounding effects of increased interest rates, some job layoffs, and that sort of thing as well. So there's a number of different things that are impacting us. The other and last piece of the puzzle that we have to look at is there is usually a little bit of a dip in sales when you start to get into the summer months. And that's just because people are away for the most part. They're out on vacation and that sort of thing. So we do see a little bit of a dip in sales usually, and that's probably having an impact as well. So the big story, if you're on the selling side, make sure that you're within that 15 to say 20%. If you're a condo, you got to be in 14% or below in order to actually be in that category to sell it. 15% or 21% if you're in detached. All buyer's market category. Thank you very much for watching this. We'll see you next month.